There is an old saying that while we are young, we do anything to make people happy. When we get older, we notice that intelligent men frequently do the opposite. Welcome to today's video, where we will look at 9 things that clever men should never do in their interactions with women. Marcus Aurelius, one of Rome's greatest emperors, famously observed that men's greatest faults are not the things they do wrong, but the things they should not do but continue to do. Furthermore, the smarter someone is, the more likely they are to commit these blunders. In this brief video, I'll impart insights from Stoic philosophy, vital lessons that I and many other men had to learn the hard way. And I'm confident that others viewing this video will find themselves in the scenarios we're going to discuss. Before we get into the main content, let us know whether you've ever committed one of these mistakes. I believe your tale can assist other men avoid the same pitfalls. Number 1. Keep your past private. The first idea we need to talk about is safeguarding your past. Nietzsche famously stated that old thoughts haunt us like ghosts of former decisions. And nowhere is this truer than in relationships. Allow me to tell you something essential. Smart guys often make this mistake because they believe that being candid about their background demonstrates emotional maturity. They reveal their worst moments, failures, and vulnerabilities in the hopes of fostering a stronger bond. But here's something they don't realize. You cannot undo what you have shared. I've witnessed several men confess their darkest anxieties, past relationship traumas, or personal challenges, only to have these things turned against them later. The Stoics taught us that not everything needed to be said or shared. Think of your past as a priceless asset. You don't show it to everyone who is interested. You only share it with people who have earned your trust over time. Because the cruel reality is that anything you share in an intimate moment can be used as ammo in an angry moment. So, what is the solution? Be selective about your past. Disclose progressively, intelligently, and most crucially, disclose only what is relevant to your current connection. Marcus Aurelius once stated that the best retribution is not to be like your enemy. In this instance, the best strategy to protect yourself is to avoid premature disclosure. Remember that mystery is not only alluring, but also protective. Keep your past private, not because you're hiding, but to protect what's valuable. Your tale is yours to share, but only with those who have earned the right to hear it. 2. Face your fear of being alone. Let's talk about something most men won't admit: their dread of being alone. Aristotle stated that understanding oneself is the beginning of all wisdom. But here's an uncomfortable fact. Many guys remain in bad relationships because they are terrified of isolation. Think about it. How many times have you witnessed a friend, or even yourself, stay with the wrong person because the prospect of being alone seemed worse? It's like remaining in a burning house because you're scared of the cold outside. The Stoics taught us that our fear of emptiness might be more destructive than the emptiness itself. I remember working with wealthy businessmen, CEOs, and leaders who could command boardrooms but couldn't handle a Friday night on their own. They'd rather accept drama, disrespect, and even emotional abuse than confront their fear of alone. But here's something they don't realize. When you fear being alone, you give up your power to anyone who will keep you company. The Stoic thinkers saw something important about this. They understood that a man who cannot be alone can never genuinely know if he is with someone for love or fear. When you're running away from loneliness, it's difficult to make sound relationship judgments. So what is the solution? Begin with little steps. Learn how to love your own company. Find peace in solitude. Because this is the dilemma. Once you're happy being alone, you'll naturally attract people who enrich your life rather than fill a hole. Remember, being alone does not imply being lonely. It entails being resilient enough to wait for what you deserve rather than accepting what you're frightened of losing. Number 3, manage your time wisely. Let's talk about something that may hit close to home. Wasting your most valuable resource. Time. Seneca, one of the most famous Stoic thinkers, stated something powerful. We don't have a short time to live. We just waste a lot of it. And nowhere is this truer than in relationships. Consider how many hours you've wasted overthinking text messages, waiting for calls that never arrived, or attempting to figure out what she truly meant. Consider the weekends you've wasted attempting to please someone who wasn't even sure about you. Marcus Aurelius once observed that time is like a river. Once it is gone, it is never to return. I've watched far too many men waste their prime years chasing people who regard them as a backup plan. They put their aspirations on hold, cancel plans with friends, and skip workouts, all for someone who would not do the same for them. What's the hard truth? While you prioritize someone else, they may consider you an option. The Stoics knew something important about time. It's the one resource you'll never get back. You can always earn more money, form new relationships, and create new chances. What about time? It is never coming back. So what is the solution? Start treating your time as a valuable asset. Before you commit hours, days, or months in someone, consider whether they are also investing in you. Are you spending your time making a connection, or simply filling an emotional void? Remember that a wise man not only manages his money, but also his time well, because in the end, when we squander time on the wrong person, we lose portions of our lives. 4. Be proud of your achievements. Here's a contradiction that many intelligent men encounter. The more they succeed, the more hesitant they are to admit their accomplishment in relationships. Epictetus once remarked that if you want to progress, be willing to be considered silly and stupid. But let's get real. Humility is not the same as hiding your brightness. I've seen successful men downplay their accomplishments, conceal their ambitions, and even appear to be less accomplished, all because they are frightened to appear pompous or scary. They'll establish businesses, earn honors, and achieve milestones. However, in partnerships, they will act as if none of it matters. Why? Because they discovered along the way that being very successful could scare people away. Pay close attention. If your accomplishments make someone uncomfortable, it is not your responsibility to address. As Marcus Aurelius taught us, the best way to avenge oneself is to avoid being like that. Do not decrease your light simply because it may blind others who are accustomed to darkness. Here is the thing. Being proud of your achievements does not imply bragging. It entails acknowledging the effort you've put in, the challenges you've overcome, and the objectives you're still pursuing. A powerful lady does not want a man who hides his accomplishments. She wants someone who can motivate her to pursue her own goals. So, what is the solution? Own your journey. Share your victories, not to impress, but to inspire. Because the proper person will not be threatened by your success. They'll be thrilled to be a part of the next chapter. Remember that your accomplishments are part of who you are. They are not simply lines on a CV. These are chapters in your story. And anyone who wishes to be a part of your life must be willing to read the entire book, not just the easy portions. 5. Protect your mental health. Let's talk about something that men rarely discuss: maintaining mental calm in partnerships. The Stoics recognized a fundamental reality: your mind is your castle. However, far too many guys allow their mental health to deteriorate in order to please others. You know what's interesting? We'll go to the gym to safeguard our physical health and work hard to keep our financial health. But when it comes to mental health, we're going to let someone else's drama ruin it. As Marcus Aurelius advised, little is required to live a happy life. It is all within you, in your way of thinking. I've watched smart men devolve into neurotic wrecks, checking their phones every 5 minutes, overthinking every conversation, and losing sleep over someone else's emotional changes. They'll tell themselves it's normal, that this is how relationships work. But here is the truth: if your relationship is continuously upsetting your peace of mind, it is not love, but emotional warfare. The Stoics taught us something deep. Your mental serenity is not negotiable. It isn't something you give up for a relationship. Because if you lose your inner peace, what do you bring to the relationship? A tense, anxious, and exhausted version of yourself. So, what is the solution? Set boundaries. Learn how to say no. Walk away from the drama. And most importantly, recognize that someone who truly loves about you will never force you to pick between their pleasure and your mental health. Remember that preserving your mental health is not selfish. It is vital, because at the end of the day, you can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't develop a healthy relationship with an unhealthy mindset. 6. Be true to yourself. Let us address a critical issue: the art of remaining loyal to oneself in relationships. You know, Albert Chu said something profound about this. When you start changing who you are to please others, you lose yourself. Consider how many times you've said yes when you meant to say no. How many times have you pretended to like something you disliked, agreed with thoughts you disagreed with, or behaved differently in order to make someone happy? The Stoics taught us that when we try to be someone we are not, we suffer twice: once for the effort and once for the failure. I've witnessed strong moral guys lose their convictions, modify their ambitions, and even alienate themselves from friends and family in order to meet someone else's ideal. They become brilliant actors, playing a role they believe their spouse would like to see. But here is the ugly truth: when you start performing instead of being genuine, you've already lost. The true irony: when you try to be someone else's ideal, you become less appealing, not more. Because honesty possesses power that no performance can match. Epictetus once remarked that if you want to progress, you must be willing to be considered ignorant and stupid for sticking to your beliefs. So, what is the solution? Begin saying no. Start expressing your true ideas. Start standing solid on your values. Yes, some individuals may dislike it and walk away. But isn't it better to be alone for being yourself than to be accepted for being someone else? Remember, the proper person will not expect you to change who you are. They will challenge you to be a better version of yourself rather than a completely different person. 7. Do not sacrifice your goals for others. Let's talk about something that damages the lives of many wonderful men: giving up their dreams and objectives for a relationship. Seneca said it perfectly: no one has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to waste their time chasing what they cannot have. I've seen guys put their careers on hold, give up on business possibilities, and forgo their hobbies in order to fit into someone else's life plan. They convince themselves it's a compromise, that it's what love demands. But here is the hard truth: When you abandon your path in favor of someone else's, you sacrifice more than simply your ambitions. You also sacrifice your essence. Do you know what's devastating? When these men wake up years later resentful and wondering where their dreams gone, they look in the mirror and can scarcely recognize themselves. As Marcus Aurelius warned, look deeply inside yourself. If you keep looking, you will find a source of strength. The main issue isn't simply about passing up possibilities. It's about losing respect, both for yourself and your relationship. Because, let's be honest, no one truly admires someone who gives up their purpose for love. They may appreciate the sacrifice at first, but they will eventually wonder what happened to the ambitious man they were once attracted to. So what is the solution? Keep your dreams alive. Pursue your goals with zeal. If your spouse wants to join you on your trip, include them, but don't derail your own. A true cooperation benefits both people's journeys. It does not need one individual to give up theirs. Remember that the ideal individual will support your goals, not compete with them. They will be proud of your goals rather than threatened by them. Because sincere love enriches your existence. It doesn't take away from your dreams. Prioritize family and friends. Let's talk about a major error I see brilliant men make, giving up their primary relationships for a romantic companion. Plato was correct when he remarked, "The first and greatest victory is self-conquest." It is the most disgusting and horrible thing to conquer oneself. Nothing demonstrates this more clearly than when guys quit their support system in order to pursue a romance. I've seen that numerous times. Men gradually distance themselves from their friends, neglect family occasions, and cancel long-standing rituals in order to impress their girlfriend. They believe they are investing in their relationship, but what they are actually doing is burning bridges that they may need later. The Stoics taught us that no man is an island, but everyone requires a tribe. This is what's tragic. When these men realize their error, they frequently find themselves lonely. Their friends have moved on, family bonds have become distant, and if the love relationship breaks, they will be completely alone. They abandon the very support system that they needed. You want to learn something interesting? The strongest partnerships I've observed involve both individuals maintaining solid friendships outside of the relationship, because relying on one person for all of your emotional needs is more than just a recipe for disappointment. You're placing an impossible responsibility on them. So, what is the solution? Maintain your friendships. Keep your family close. Make time for the folks who were there before and will be there after the relationship ends. A partner who tries to cut you off from your support system is not defending your relationship. They are in control of your life. Remember that your intimate relationships are like a safety net. You may not believe you need them when things are going well, but they are important when things are rough. Don't wait until you're falling to realize you've cut off your own safety net. Avoid excessive dependency. Let us conclude with possibly the most important principle, avoiding the trap of excessive dependency. Marcus Aurelius said something important about it. You have control over your thoughts, not external occurrences. Realize this, and you will gain strength. Let me paint you a picture that I've seen far too often. Intelligent, capable men are becoming entirely reliant on a woman's praise, attention, or presence. They obsessively check their phones, plan their entire schedules around her availability, and become nervous when they do not receive a quick response. Her texts cause mood swings, and her grin makes them happy. As the Stoics would say, when you delegate responsibility for your peace, you become a slave to their actions. Here's what's interesting. The more dependent you are, the less appealing you appear. It's similar to a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your dread of losing them actually generates the conditions that drive them away. Because let's face it, no one wants to be someone's entire world. There's too much pressure and duty. What is the hard truth? When you make someone your everything, you become nothing to them. You cease being the confident, self-assured man they were drawn to and instead become a shadow of yourself, constantly seeking affirmation and reassurance. So what is the solution? Create a life so full and meaningful that a relationship enriches rather than completes it. Have your own hobbies, have your own space, and remember that true power comes from inside, not external approval. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius told us, the happiness of your life is determined by the quality of your ideas, not in the presence of others, nor with their approbation, but in your own inner stability and power. As we conclude our examination of these 9 fundamental Stoic ideas, let us recall something vital. These are not only guidelines for relationships, they serve as standards for men to keep their dignity, strength, and sincerity. From protecting your past to managing your independence, each principle we've explored is based on ancient knowledge that remains astonishingly relevant today. Marcus Aurelius told us that a happy life requires very little effort. It is all within you, in your way of thinking. These concepts are not intended to manipulate or control relationships. They're about creating a solid basis for yourself so that whatever relationship you enter enriches rather than defines you. The Stoics recognized something fundamental. True strength in relationships stems from what we refuse to do. If this video spoke to you, please like it and share it with other guys who may benefit from hearing this message. Leave a comment below to let us know which principle resonated with you the most. Your experience could be just what someone else needs to hear right now. Remember that following these rules does not make you cold or unfeeling. It makes you wiser. Because ultimately, the finest relationships are built on mutual respect and individual strength rather than sacrifice or dependency. Until next time, remain strong, wise, and most importantly, true to yourself.